Hello friends, today we study new lectures, okay, that is based on the petrochemicals. So there is one of the major important petrochemical is called as a nylon, and that are used in generally day to day life. We are using it. It has wide applications. Okay, so that is one of the best product or one of the important product that is from chemical petrochemical industries is the nylon. Okay, now what is nylon? They are nothing but can see here various photos that are available. So they are made up of day-to-day life examples. Okay, so we can see that there is a threads. We are using we are using a clothing. So there is a net. Okay, and there is a rope. These are all made up of from the nylons. Okay, so this is the various applications of a nylon that we use in our day-to-day life. Now we can see what is the nylons then. It is nothing but the polymers of amine and polyamides. Okay, and they have excellent for making of fibers. Okay, so nylons are generally polymers that are made up of amine or polyamides. Okay, now we can see there are when a process that is used for making a nylons is the condensation polymerization. Okay, where the you can say we are using autoclaves or a stirred tank batch reactors. Okay, it is a condensation type of a polymerization reaction that is involved for making a nylons. Okay, now from the table below we can see that a number of uh, nylons are there. That is a you can say nylon 6, then nylon 6 nylon 610, nylon 10, 11, nylon 12. Okay, these are all the types of a nylon that are made, and they are generally classified according to the monomers used for making a polymers. So we can see nylon 6 is generally made up of caprolactam. Okay, it is a monomer used is caprolactam. Nylon 66 is you. It is made up of a monomers called as adipic acid and the hexamethylene diamine. Then nylon 610 is used. It is made up of the monomers that is sebacic acid and the hexamethylene diamine. Then nano 11 is made up of from the monomer called as 11 amino undecanoic acids. Okay, then nylon 12 is generally made up of laurolactams. Okay, so these are the various types. Though these are the types of nylon, they are generally classified according to the monomers used in the process of manufacturing. Okay, now we see these are the pictures that are day to day life we are using in nylons. So we have used them in the threads, use them in the ropes, we use them in the nets. Okay, again it has a wide application in the fibers, or we can say clothing. Okay, so these are the uses of nylons. Now we see what are the manufacturing techniques. Now generally we can see nylon 66. Okay, generally we require here the monomer required here is the caprolactam. Okay, now how it is produced? Now it is a very simple method that is used for manufacturing nylon 66 is the this is produced by polymerizing adipic acid, okay, and a hexamethylene diamine, okay, in an autoclave in a aqueous solution at about 200 degrees Celsius and the pressure of 250 psi for the reaction, and the time is 1 to 2 hours. Such nylon making steps are shown in the figure above. Now we can see generally hexamethylene diamine and adipic acid with water and acetic acid is fed to the autoclave, and here the addition, so we can say the condensation reaction is taking place, condensation polymerization reaction is taking place. It is fed to the autoclave. Okay, polymerization takes place here, the polymer formation takes here. It is then fed to the evaporator where condensants are removed, and from the bottom whatever the reaction mass we are getting, we are keeping it into the nitrogen and atmosphere, and from that, from the bottom of the autoclave, another autoclave, we get the fiber. Okay, or the molten mass, and it is fed, it is given, or it is fed to the fiber making process. Okay, that is the same thing, same procedure is used for number of reactions. Okay, now we can see nylon 6. Okay, nylon 6 is nothing but it is obtained by from the caprolactams. Okay, which is polymerized in the water solution at about 250 degrees Celsius under a nitrogen pressure in a batch autoclave. Okay, the reaction time here is about 8 to 12 hours. Okay, so these are the two types of nylons that are made up of with the different monomers and the different manufacturing, or we can say the reaction techniques. Okay, the first one is nylon 66, where we require adipic acid and the methylene diamines. Okay, and we require autoclave, where we are feeding it and at the temperature of 200 degrees Celsius and the pressure of 250 psi, and the reaction time required for that is 1 to 2 hours. Okay, then next type of nylon is nylon 6. It is generally made up of caprolactam, okay, which is polymerized in the water solution. Okay, temperature is around 250 degrees Celsius, nitrogen pressure is there under nitrogen, then it is the batch autoclave. The reaction time require 8 to 12 hours. Now you see the next type of a nylon is the nylon 610. Okay, it is produced from the sebacic acid, okay, and the hexamethylene diamine, which are polymerized in the batch reactor where condensation takes place during the reaction. Okay, so this is a simple technique for making a nylon 610. We require sebacic acid and hexamethylene diamine, where amine group will be attached and the monomers will be converted into polymers. Again, it require a batch reactor and a condensation reaction takes place. Okay, now from next type is the nylon 11. Okay, now this is a product that is we get where it is obtained from the monomer called as the 11 amino undecanoic acids. Okay, the ketone groups. Okay, then it is obtained from a castor oil. So this group is obtained from the castor oil, and by polymerizing in an aqueous medium at a temperature around 220 degrees Celsius in autoclave, we get the nylon 11. Okay, again it has a wide application. Various applications are there for a nylon 11. Then we will see the next type is the nylon 12. Okay, this is the product of a polymerization of a laurolactam. Okay, at a temperature about 260 degrees Celsius in a autoclave. Okay, so these are the different types of nylon that are used in industries. They have a various wide applications for making a various things, okay, that we are using in day to day life. Okay, so we can see here all the types, they require a certain type of that is a monomer, and there is a autoclave process. Okay, all of them have require autoclave. The process is batch process. Okay, and the temperatures are maintained at around or above 200 degree Celsius. All of them require different types of monomer, or we can say the raw material. Okay, now we see the next process. Next slide of our presentation shows how the monomers that are required for nylons can be manufactured. Okay, so that is the manufacturing process for the monomers of nylons. Now we can see very first monomer required for that nylon production is the adipic acid. Okay, now we can see how it is produced. So generally, adipic acid is made up from benzene. Okay, benzene is catalytically hydrogenated to cyclohexane by ranitidine as a catalyst at a temperature around 200 degrees Celsius to 300 degrees Celsius under a hydrogen pressure of 3 to 4 megapascals. Okay, this is the that is the requirement. Why how from where it is made? It is generally adipic acids are generally made from the benzene. Benzene is catalytically hydrogenated to a cyclohexane. Then again, so benzene is converting into cyclohexane by ranitidine as the catalyst. Temperature is 200 degrees Celsius to 300 degrees Celsius under a hydrogen pressure of 3 to 4 megapascals. Okay, the reaction takes place in a stirred tank. Cyclohexane is again oxidized to cyclohexanol and cyclohexanon by a cobalt naphthalene as a catalyst at a temperature of 145 degrees Celsius to 175 degrees Celsius at a pressure of 0.8 to 1 megapascal in a oxygen atmosphere. So generally whatever the cyclohexane we are getting from benzene is again oxidized to cyclohexanol and a cyclohexanone. Okay, and the catalyst used is the cobalt naphthanates. Okay, now we see both the cyclohexanol that we get, cyclohexanol and hexanone, are then further oxidized to adipic acid in presence of copper and ammonium metavanadate as a catalyst in the presence of nitric acid. Okay, so what we get, whatever the cyclohexanol and cyclohexanone we are getting from the previous process is again further oxidized, okay, in the presence of high oxidizing agent, that is nitric acid. So we are getting the required adipic acid. Okay, now last step here is the oxidation is carried out in a stirred tank reactor at a temperature of 60 to 80 degrees Celsius at atmospheric pressure. The reaction time is about 5 to 7 minutes. The product adipic acid, okay, is then further purified by the steam distillation. Okay, so this is how the first product or first monomer that is produced for making a nylon is called as the adipic acid. So we require here is benzene. Benzene is converted into cyclohexane. Cyclohexanes are generally converted into cyclohexanol and cyclohexanone, and it is further oxidized to adipic acid, and that is a simple process we require. So here we require the temperature conditions are different for each oxidation process. The first process required 200 degrees Celsius to 300 degrees Celsius temperature. Second, oxidation state where cyclohexane is oxidized to a cyclohexanol and cyclohexanone. The required temperature is 145 to 175 degrees Celsius. And again, to convert that cyclohexanol and cyclohexanone to adipic acid, we require temperature around 60 to 80 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that is a simple process for adipic acid to producing adipic acid. Now we see the next monomer, that is the hexamethylene diamine. Okay, diamines. Okay, they are very important for both of them. Okay, now this is a obtained from the adipic acid in a two stages. Okay, the first stage, adipic is converted into adiponitrile by reacting with the gaseous ammonia in presence of catalyst boron phosphate and the temperature of about 340 degrees Celsius in a fixed bed reactor. Okay, so what happens, whatever the adipic acid we get, it is converted into adiponitriles by reacting gaseous ammonia in the presence of catalyst of boron phosphate, and the temperature of about 340 degrees Celsius is in a fixed bed reactor. The product of adiponitrile is then catalytically hydrogenated by hexamethylene diamine by cobalt catalyst at a temperature of 100 degree to 135 degrees Celsius and hydrogen pressure of 60 to 65 megapascal in a fixed bed reactor. Okay, so this is how the adiponitriles are generally converted to hexamethylene diamines by using a cobalt catalyst and a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius to 135 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is how hexamethylene diamine, the very important reactant that is required for nylon, are produced. Okay, now we see the next monomer that is being produced for making a nylons are sebacic acid. Okay, so this acid is a commercially produced from castor oil. Okay, castor oil saponification with a caustic solution at about 250 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that is the sebacic acid. How it is produced, it is generally extracted from castor oil. Whatever the castor oil we are casting, we have to do the saponification of a castor oil with the caustic solution. Okay, at about 250 degrees Celsius. Okay, in the reactor, castor oil is split into ricinoleic acid and glycerin. Okay, ricinoleic acid is separated from the glycerin and further heated in a separate reactor to yield a sebacic acid. It is a simple process of saponification. Simply castor oil is taken, it is treated with NaOH at around 200 and 200 degrees Celsius. We get the two products, two layers. The clear solution is called as a glycerin, and remaining precipitation is nothing but the ricinoleic acid. Okay, then again it is further heated, okay, to convert it into sebacic acid. Okay, So that is how the sebacic acid is produced. Now we see the next product or the next monomer is the 11 amino undecanoic acid. Okay, now what is this? It is nothing but the monomer required for producing nylon 11. Okay, so this is the also product. It is produced from the castor oil. Okay, it is also extracted from the castor oil. So we can see the oil is first esterified by methanol, okay, to yield a methyl ester of racinoleic acid, followed by pyrolysis about 500 degrees Celsius. Okay, so whatever the castor oil we get from the castor, so it is first esterified. Esterification reaction is taking place. Here we are adding a methanol to it, and it is whatever the after methanol we get a racinoleic acid, and it is further pyrolyzed at about 500 degrees Celsius. Okay, so whatever the mixture of a product from heptyl alcohol, ester of undecyclinic acid and heptaldehyde is obtained. Okay, after this process we get a three products: heptyl alcohol, esters of undecyclinic acid, heptaldehydes. Okay, then hydrolysis yield the undecyclinic acid, which is then brominated by hydrobromic acid to bromo undecanoic acid. Okay, treating bromo undecanoic acid with ammonia yield 11 amino deconic acids. Okay, so this is how the reaction is taking place when we have to produce a amino 11 amino undecanoic acid from the castor oils. Okay, and this product is generally this monomer is used for producing a nylon 11. Okay, now we see the next very important that monomer, that is a caprolactam. Okay, they are generally what is how it is produced. Benzene is converted into cyclohexane followed by oxidation to cyclohexanol and cyclohexanon as described in the production of adipic acid. Okay, so whatever the cyclohexanol from mixture is further catalytically dehydrogenated to cyclohexanon in the presence of zinc at a temperature of 400 degrees Celsius at 1 atmosphere. The cyclohexanon is then converted into cyclohexanon oximes by reacting with hydroxylamine sulfate at about 18 to 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, cyclohexanon oxime is then further treated for sulfur trioxide in presence of sulfuric acid to yield a caprolactam by the reaction mechanism called as a Beckmann rearrangement. Okay, the temperature of this reaction is maintained near 140 to 150 degree Celsius. So generally what happens? Generally we are getting a cyclohexanol. Okay, so from the same technique that is for adipic acid. So from that we get the cyclohexanol. It is further dehydrogenated to cyclohexanon. Okay, in the presence of zinc at a temperature around 400 degrees Celsius. Okay, so cyclohexanon then it is converted to cyclohexanon oxime. Okay, generally it is treated with the hydroxyl amine sulfates. Okay, so what we get is nothing but the cyclohexanon oximes. Then the hexanon oximes is then further treated with the sulfur trioxide. Okay, generally, and it is converting that into the required caprolactam by the reaction. Okay, the mechanism is called as a Beckmann rearrangement. Okay, now generally the reaction temperature is maintained around 140 to 150 degree Celsius. That is a various. It is a very important raw material required for producing nylons. Okay, now we can see other major polymer products from the petrochemicals. Okay, so one of them is nothing but nylon that we have seen up to, in the previous presentations. Okay, slides. Now we are seeing another products from that petrochemicals are, first one is the phenol formaldehyde. It is a generally it is a type of a polymer generally used, or it is also called as a resin. Okay, they are produced from the phenol and the formaldehyde in presence of aqueous ammoniacal medium condensed to phenol formaldehyde resins. Okay, the reaction is carried out in a kettle type of reactor at a temperature of 160 degrees Celsius and atmospheric pressure. Okay, generally what happens here? Phenol and formaldehyde in presence of aqueous ammoniacal medium Okay, it will give phenol formaldehyde resin. Temperature is maintained around 160 degree Celsius. Okay, the reaction time is 1 hour. The product from the reactor is usually blended with hexamethylene triamines and other fillers to make finished resin ready for molding process. Okay, depending on the ratio of phenol to formaldehyde, a variety of grade of this resin may be made. This is a thermosetting type of resin. Generally, this is a very important, we can say, product that is from we are getting from petrochemicals is phenol formaldehyde. Generally, they are it is a resin. Generally, it is a thermosetting resin used in various types of uh, products. Okay, it is a very important polymer. Okay. Now we see the next type is the urea formaldehyde resins. Urea and formaldehyde also readily react to polymerize in a urea formaldehyde resin. Okay, polymerization is carried out in a glass line stirred tank reactor in ammonical or a weak alkaline medium. Okay, the polymerization takes place at a room temperature and atmospheric pressure. The resin is also a thermosetting resin. Okay, so again this is a very important polymer that is used, that is called as a resin, urea formaldehyde resin. Again it is a thermosetting type of resin and has a wide applications in various industries. Okay, that is the resins. So that is the urea formaldehyde resin. Now next is the melamine formaldehyde resins. Okay, this is also a type of a resin generally used in various part of our industries and various applications as there. So melamine and a formaldehyde combine readily to form a melamine formaldehyde resin, which is also called is a thermosetting resin. Okay, temperature is around 100 degrees Celsius in a neutral medium. Okay, at a pH of 7 and aqueous medium at a atmospheric pressure. Okay, again melamine formaldehyde resins are thermosets. Okay, they are generally thermosettings. They are generally used in various industries. Okay, we can make a films out of that. Various applications are there for melamine urea formaldehyde resins. Now we see the polyurethanes. Okay, so these are all the polymers that are generally used. Okay, so these are the for thermosetting. Polyurethanes are thermosetting resin obtained by condensation polymerization reaction of a polyols. Okay, and the diisocyanates. Okay, the examples of monomer are toluene diisocyanates and dihydric alcohol or glycols. Okay, the polymerization is carried out in a stirred tank autoclave reactor at a temperature of 200 degrees Celsius under a nitrogen pressure. Okay, the molten polymer is then taken directly to fiber spinning unit. Okay, so this is how polyurethanes are produced. So they require, okay, generally diisocyanates and the dihydric alcohols, that is, or you can say it is glycol. It is generally they are reacted at around 200 degrees Celsius under a nitrogen pressure in a stir tank, which will leave it will give a polyurethanes. Okay, now generally molten polyurethane we get, and it is further given to the another process where it is converted into fibers. Now the next is the silicon. Okay, silicon, it is nothing but this is the polymer of silicoxanes. Okay, now we can see industrially it is produced by alkylating with the organic halides, that is chemical methyl chlorides or benzyl chlorides. Okay, with the elemental silicon. So elemental silicon is treated with the organic halides in the presence of catalyst copper or copper oxides at a temperature of about 200 to 300 degrees Celsius at a pressure of 100 to 200 degree 100 to 200 kilopascals for the reaction period of 40 hours. Okay, generally how it is prepared, it is generally elemental silicon is taken and it is treated with the organic halides. It may be methyl chloride, may be benzyl chloride at around temperature of 200 degrees Celsius, and the temperature reaction time required is 48 hours. Okay, the reactor is cylindrical column fitted with the screw type agitator and a jacket. Okay, now the die and the trisilanes, okay, produced are separated by hydrolyzed separately, okay, each at the temperature of about 30 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius to yield the silicon polymers. So low molecular, it is a low molecular weight polymers are oil, whereas high molecular weight polymers are solids. Silicon is obtained from silicon dioxide by reduction reaction carbonate. So this is how it is produced. Okay, it is also very useful type of a polymer that has been used in industries, or it is one of the major product that is coming out from the petrochemicals. Okay, now this is all the polymers are generally used in our day-to-day life. Nylon has a wide applications, and again we have seen the various types of resins. Again they have wide applications. They are used as adhesives. They are used as a various applications are there. Again we are generally they are used for making a pipes. They have a good strength. Okay, so these are the various applications. So all these polymers are generally a product from petrochemicals, and they have a wide application. That's why it is a very important to study them. Again, whatever we have I've considered this material, it is difference I have referred from the fundamental of petroleum and petrochemical engineering by Uttam Rai Chaudhary. That is a CRC Press. Okay, so hope you have all understood the content of my presentation, and thank you for your kind attention.